Udah kalau gemuruh tuh dia mungkin begini ya.
Erupsi perumahan cuy. Aduh Santi siap nih. Wih. Aduh, bakar.
Hey guys, we have a lot of volcanoes awakening from dormant phases. If you're a follower of my channel, Iceland, the Reykjanes Peninsula, has woken up after 800 years. So all the residents that live there have never experienced these eruptions that they're experiencing right now. And if you have seen my video about what's going on in Ethiopia, we could see a giant dormant awakening after 200 years of dormancy. But something else is happening, and I want to talk about this today. Many people call it the deadly awakening of Mount Lewotobi. So what is happening and what is next? What are the implications that this has? I'll give you an overview because this is the first time that I'm covering this volcano. So it's a terrifying eruption of Mount Lewotobi Laki Laki in East Flores, Indonesia. So today, on November 4th, 2024, this ancient volcano exploded. It literally exploded. I'll show you a video here that people have filmed on and posted on X. There you see this powerful volcano and what it does. So by doing what it did today, it has caught the world's attention. And of course, not only that, unfortunately, it has devastated the local community. This isn't just another volcanic eruption or another natural event. It's a wake-up call, really a wake-up call for what's brewing underneath the Earth's surface. And since we're monitoring volcanoes like the super volcano in Italy, Campi Flegrei, that could have devastating impacts, not only for Italy, for the whole world, we have to look at this volcano as well, and especially what could happen next. So what exactly has happened when the initial blast of this volcano happened in the early hours of November 4th? The locals have reported strange tremors that they felt that were shaking the ground. And we know what that means. If you follow my channel, you know. An earthquake cluster, many earthquakes in a short period of time in a centered area usually could mean that magma's on the move from a magma chamber, from a magma reservoir. That's why the locals felt these strange tremors that were very unusual. And only a few hours later, so the time frame, depending on the volcano, could be hours, could be a little longer, but usually maybe even less. So hours later, Mount Lewotobi Laki Laki erupted with terrifying force, absolutely terrifying. I'll show you the pictures here again of how that looked.
Udah kalau gemuruh tuh dia mungkin begini ya.
Kurang bisa
But you know, if you're there in reality, it must have been even way more frightening than that. This massive cloud of ash that it was spewing out in such a short period of time with such a force, spewing it out. And of course, not only ash, these volcanic rocks as well. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because these rocks move very fast. And if you the proximity of that, those can hit you, those can end you very, very quickly. So all that was blasted out from that volcano into the sky. It has blotted out the sun, and debris was raining down on the nearby villages. You see pictures and videos here that were posted on X by people and in social media. So really like end of day scenario, very, very bad looking. People were running for their lives from that. And these hot volcanic particles and rocks were basically coming after them, plus that thick smoke that made it hard to breathe. And imagine you have to run. There's little to no sight, and then that black smoke, and then you're hit by hot volcanic rocks. It's not good. And what we know so far, that this eruption has ended 10 people. And guys, unfortunately, I have to use weird descriptions or words for someone that was, because YouTube, the advertisers don't like to say the real word, then your video gets demonetized, or it's weird, but it is what it is. But I think when I say people were ended, you know what I mean. Many YouTubers say unalived, but that's just, sorry that I'm laughing in light of this tragedy, but you know what I mean. So 10 people, and over 1,400 people were displaced from their home, from their villages. So the community there is shattered, their land is shattered, their villages are shattered. So a very, very sad scenario. So Mount Lewotobi also has a twin. So let's talk about this volcano a little bit. The twin is called Mount Lewotobi Perempuan. So it's a pair of stratovolcanoes. Stratovolcano is a volcano, I would say, if you say volcano to someone, this is the image that they have in mind. This massive cone, large mountains where eruptions are coming out. This is what a stratovolcano is. And this pair of twin stratovolcanoes sits on an arc that is called the Sunda Arc, and that's a very seismically active area. And basically, again, like in so many other areas that I'm reporting about, we have two tectonic plates involved, and those plates are responsible for that seismic activity. So we have the Indo-Australian plate that is grinding beneath the Eurasian plate. And that, of course, is like a pressure cooker that creates intense pressure beneath these mountains, beneath these stratovolcanoes, by grinding underneath each other, and then maybe locking and grinding. So for centuries, not just now, for centuries, these volcanoes have been active, but then they had quiet intervals that lasted centuries, over centuries. So people that settled there in their lifetime, they had never experienced anything like this. And it is with people and with mankind. If we don't experience it, yeah, we might hear about the threat, but for some reason we're not taking it too much into account, or we're not fearful enough, or maybe it's a good thing, because how can you live in that area if you fear for your life every day? It's the same for the people in Italy at Campi Flegrei. It's a better situation for the people in Iceland. You know, if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you know what I mean. Grindavik can be evacuated. It's not too many people. And these eruptions, for now, they're not super explosive or dangerous. They're fissure eruptions. Quiet intervals, people feel safe, they're not expecting anything, but then all over sudden, the volcano have violent explosive eruptions. This volcano that we're seeing now, this isn't like a regular steady volcano. We're seeing volcanoes that are erupting on a regular basis. Mount Etna in Italy, for example. No, this is not the case. So it's definitely a surprise when this happens. and Mount Lewotobi, we could say that this stratovolcano is a time bomb, guys, that builds up pressure over long periods of time. So it takes a long time until this thing is ready to blow. And then if it blows, it releases this pressure in very catastrophic ways. And that's what just happened. The two Lewotobi volcanoes unfortunately have a long and deadly history of eruptions, and some have been recorded. So the earliest that people were able to record was an eruption that happened in 1660. But mouth to mouth stories from locals, they say that eruptions likely go back even further than that. But that's the first one that's basically officially recorded. And we can say that since the early 20th century, there have been over a dozen eruptions that have varied in size. So it's not always the same thing. Of course, there can be variations. For example, in 2011, Lewotobi had a minor eruption, nothing, no big deal. But it was absolutely nothing compared to what we're seeing right now. So this region is very volatile and unpredictable. And basically what we can say is that each eruption of this volcano does not really clarify what's going on or put some regularity in it. Quite the opposite. It seems to add to the mystery of this volcano and the danger that surrounds both twin volcanoes. So since this eruption now happened, and then since this catastrophe has unfolded, the Indonesian government has declared a state of emergency for East Flores. That's the area you see here on the map. So that's the immediate, that's basically the red zone, the danger zone. And they have developed a 58-day response plan. So the authorities, the government, they're working with over 10,000 residents that are affected by this eruption in the affected areas. What they're doing right now, they're setting up shelters for the displaced people. They're trying to provide emergency supplies. And of course, and that's important, they are preparing for potential further evacuations. So schools are closed, businesses are shuttered, and Flores is usually quite a vibrant community. Everything is at a standstill right now, and the level of uncertainty, as you can imagine, is great. I mean, we've seen it in the small, if you follow my channel in Iceland, after last year, this huge magma intrusion happened where the town of Grindavik was shattered and cracked and homes destroyed. People felt in limbo. What's next? Should we go back? Is more coming? Where should we go? Horrible, horrible. And we have even more people affected here in this area.
The overnight eruptions of Mount Lewotobi Laki Laki wrecked houses, spewed ash and set fire to the areas of the island of Flores. Officials have had to evacuate several villages as the twin volcano violently came to life.
They do have a Center of Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation. The short version of this is PVMBG. And they have changed the alert level of Mount Lewotobi to the highest, absolute highest alert level right now. And really, guys, the fact that they're doing this and the warning that they have given out, this is no ordinary warning. This is really something very, very serious, because the PVMBG believes that there is a strong, and they say strong, chance of more eruptions, that this was only the start. And again, if you follow my channel in Iceland, yeah, they have seen one every 3 to 4 weeks and once a month, once every 2 months, more to come. And this is a violent thing. So more of that, not good, definitely not good. That's why people need to be on such a high alert, and they really need to prepare for evacuating people and bringing people to safety, that hopefully not more people will be lost than the 10 that are already lost. Probably this number will probably go higher within the next few days the more they find out. Of course, right now, there's soldiers, there's scientists, there's emergency workers that are on site and that are planned to remain on site to constantly monitor every rumble and every tremor. And that is good. So they seem to have a good infrastructure for doing that. If you follow my channel, I've reported about Ethiopia, the Fentale volcano. There was rumbling. There were larger earthquakes just yesterday, over 4, I think 4.7 again. And they have little monitoring in place and little warning. People are not informed, so it's very hard to find out what's really going on. So if you're interested in that topic, check out the videos in the end screen. It's a very interesting event. I don't want to call it event yet, but there have been cracks in the ground in areas that are a little bit surprising, and damage to infrastructure has happened also, and then these high magnitude earthquakes. So check that out as well. But let's get back to Mount Lewotobi. Why is this stratovolcano so dangerous? What makes it so dangerous for the people? It's just not another like cone-shaped stratovolcano that we know, right? I'm here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm looking at them every day. Mount Hood, Mount Baker, Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier, all these volcanoes. Yep, but yeah, I also have to say, I like the site of Mount Baker. It looks really beautiful. Do I feel threatened by it? Not really, although scientists are saying it's one of the most dangerous ones because it's so close to a densely populated area. So it's not a normal, just another one like many others. Of course, it is a stratovolcano, so it is built from layers of hardened lava that comes out and then hardens along the sides of it. Lots of ash, lots of volcanic rocks from past eruptions have formed this volcano. The lava that this volcano is spitting out is rich in silica. That's why the lava is incredibly thick and sticky. So that's why it has built this cone. Compared to Iceland, the lava is very liquid and fast flowing. If you're hearing rumble around me, there's a storm going on and it's really blowing hard. So doors are shaking and I feel the wind really blowing against the windows. And I was walking the doggies today in the wind and I said to them, you're getting a new hairstyle, because the wind was blowing them in the face so much. You can see it here, but it was warm. It was kind of a beautiful day. But now it's catching up again and you can really feel it. So sorry if that disturbs you a little bit. I can't stop it. That's Mother Nature. So right now, since there's the highest alert level of Mount Lewotobi, no one is allowed to get close to that volcano with a radius of 7 kilometers around the volcano. Soldiers, scientists, emergency workers, yeah, they are on site. They're constantly monitoring every rumble and tremor, but also they have to have a high level of caution. So, as I said, lava is very sticky and thick. So when magma like this is rising up, it doesn't flow out so easily like we've seen in Hawaii, for example, or in Iceland. It clogs the volcanic vents. There's an opening, it tries to flow out, but then it clogs it right away because it's so thick and sticky. And what's the effect of this? Well, have you ever heard or have you ever seen the phenomenon of a bottle of sparkling wine or champagne where the cork's still in and you start shaking it a little bit? That's kind of what's happening. And then there's enough pressure in the bottle to shoot the cork out. So it's building up pressure again over a month, over years, even decades, until the mountain can't hold it back anymore, until the cork is shot out of the bottle. And that's when it erupts with this very explosive, dangerous, and deadly force. And let's talk about pyroclastic flows, because that is something that Mount Lewotobi can do very well, unfortunately. And that is one of the most terrifying aspects of this volcano, is the potential for these pyroclastic flows, because we're not talking about the sticky lava now. This is like fast moving clouds of hot gas, ash, and rocks that can surge down the mountain at speeds of over 100 miles per hour. And they are obliterating everything in their path. You cannot outrun pyroclastic explosions. So, worst case scenario, this volcano is able to spread these flows miles beyond the crater. Miles. And that's the danger. The sticky, slow flowing lava, not so much, but the pyroclastic flows, when they spread out and reach populated areas with virtually no warning, like popping the cork. But then there's another threat. The rainy season is approaching in Indonesia. So what does that mean for that volcano with the steep slope? Lahars. So what are lahars? You might wonder. So, for example, if you live in the Pacific Northwest and you live in areas, Mount Rainier, for example, because I find that this is very densely populated in areas where we could see this. Olympia, Tacoma, Graham, stuff like this. You might see sometimes if there's real estate listings, not many times, but there's like hazard levels not in the lahar zone. You can see that. So you should know what that means if you live in that area. So it's not just about fire and ash, unfortunately. So rainy season, if there's a lot of rain and water, there's a significant risk of these lahars. These are volcanic mud flows, and they are created when rainwater mixes with ash and debris. And these flows, they can travel down rivers that are already there in this area. They can travel into valleys that are there, and they can destroy towns, settlements, villages, farmland, even miles away from the volcano itself. So, you know, if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you know I have a farm. So in the Pacific Northwest, with all these volcanoes, you have to be cautious if you have livestock, especially where you place that livestock. You want to be high enough so that if the big one hits here, magnitude 9 or 10, you are not prone to a tsunami that could be as high as 100 feet. 30 meters. But also you want to be away from the volcanoes if they erupt, away from potential lahars, lava flows, pyroclastic flows, and all that. So you really have to do your homework. I would say especially along the west coast of the state of Washington, and then maybe into the Portland area, and then the Oregon coast. You're a little bit safer because there's the mountains and stuff, so that is not so. But Washington, around the Olympia, Tacoma, Graham, Eatonville, these areas, you should be careful, because these lahars, they travel fast and they can travel quite far. So for the people in Indonesia, for the people of East Flores, the risk that comes with these lahars could be absolutely catastrophic. It would affect the region's agriculture, so food production, but also homes and vital infrastructure. That's why volcanologists around the world are closely watching Mount Lewotobi, because some of these scientists, they fear that this eruption is only the beginning of a series of events, because volcanic activity often follows cycles of eruptions, and we're seeing this in Iceland right now. So what the scientists are afraid of right now is that Lewotobi may continue to erupt in the following weeks. Because, why is that so? The magma chamber that's responsible for sending out the magma could be still highly pressurized. There could be still a lot of pressure in that magma chamber, so that would mean more eruptions are very likely. And then don't forget, we have these tectonic shifts between the region, and if these plates are moving, that could destabilize the volcanic system further and affect that system, because if these tectonic plates in the area, they're building up tension, a lot of tension, it doesn't have to, but it could have a great impact on Lewotobi's next eruption and could be responsible for an eruption that is even bigger than the one that we have just seen. You might not know much about this region, about East Flores. It was quite a vibrant town, also an emerging hotspot for tourists. And it has been drawing quite a significant amount of visitors to that little area, like about 20,000 visitors per year. So Mount Lewotobi was, I say was, I don't want to say is, because not right now, it was a popular trekking and hiking destination. I mean, a lot of people like to hike stratovolcanoes and like to look at the rim of these volcanoes. There are trails that are leading up to the peaks of these twin volcanoes. But of course, and that's bad for the region, in addition to the devastation that this eruption has caused, the tourism is of course at a standstill right now, and I don't see it catch up anytime soon. And of course, this hits the local economy also in a devastating way, because basically the region is living off tourism, so they heavily rely on these people coming. So that's why local authorities are telling their communities, you have to brace for impact, you have to brace for tough times that are ahead. So that's the only thing. But then there's the farmers, and I feel for them very much because they're worried a lot. They're concerned for their crops. Families that live there are afraid to return to their homes because they're worried when the next eruption comes. And of course, business owners that rely on the tourism industry, they worried that the tourists may never come back, depending on how long this volcano might remain active. So people are pretty sure, authorities, scientists are pretty sure that the impact of this eruption that just happened will be felt in that region for years to come. So what is likely to happen next? Let's talk about the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario would be that we see a major eruption that would send pyroclastic flows, ash clouds across the island, and then not only impacting East Flores, but potentially affecting nearby islands, airspace over the Indonesian archipelago. So that would affect even more regions and the tourist business in that region. So experts are very worried that also if there should be a longer eruption, that this could disrupt flights, impact trade routes, or even trigger more seismic events in the region. What does that mean for East Flores, for the communities there? That would definitely mean a longer evacuation time, or maybe they can never come back, losing their homes, destroyed farmland, and a deeply uncertain future. Because an eruption of this magnitude would definitely leave scars on the land and of course on the people as well. They would basically have to rebuild their lives from scratch. So do they receive international aid? What's being done as of right now? So the Indonesian government is getting support from international aid agencies, and they're working tirelessly right now to respond to this disaster. The Indonesian Search and Rescue Agency has set up relief camps, and organizations like the Red Cross are there providing food, medical supplies, and shelter. But despite of all that help, the road to recovery will be very long already with only that one eruption. And for many people, because of that, now they say the future feels incredibly uncertain, and I don't blame them. I would definitely feel the same. So for the next 2 days, the disaster response teams are focused on providing food, water, and emergency medical aid to the affected communities, of course. So this is their initial response to the disaster. Later on, they have to talk about rebuilding homes, schools, and businesses, but that will take years. But only if this thing stays quiet, which they don't know. They can't predict. So if the eruptions continue, that's a total different ball game. That could further delay these efforts. So can we learn something from this event that could be transferred to other areas where there is a volcanic threat? For example, to Ethiopia and the Fentale volcano. Check out the videos in the end screen or in my playlist. Definitely, I mean, that's of course, if a disaster like this happens, an eruption of that scale always reminds us of the raw power of Mother Earth and of the unpredictability of nature and of the fact how little scientists know so far and how little ability they have to predict things like this. They only have like very, very short. Once the earthquakes start, they maybe can predict, oopsie, something might happen within 30 minutes, a few hours, but they can say in 2 years, this and this will happen. They can't. In that area, especially that Mount Lewotobi has not only been seen as a threat, it has only been seen as a blessing for the local people. It was beautiful to look at despite the danger. But now, of course, these views might have changed. And I think, you know, we have to make ourselves aware. We're sitting in our living rooms watching videos like this, and yeah, that's in Indonesia. Oh yeah, that's terrible what has happened. But barely we reflect that this could happen maybe to many of us in a second. I'm in a high rise right now. If the magnitude 9 or 10 big one hits, if the Cascadia fault ruptures, well, that will be very, very bad. If you live in areas, a sudden tornado, or like Florida, Hurricane Helene, so many areas could face dangers, and of course volcanic eruptions as well. So always when we watch something like this, do not detach yourself from that. Think about the area where you live and how you could prepare for yourself, for your pets, for your other animals, family members, vulnerable elders, or whatever. Always keep that in mind a little bit. Don't live in fear, but have some preparation in place. That's what I think we should do. Use this as a reminder of our own fragility, but also of the strength and the tools that we have to face Mother Nature's challenges head on. So thanks for watching, guys. Check out the videos in the end screen. If you're new here, please subscribe, share the video with your friends, and check out my members only playlist. Maybe you're interested in that and want to become a member and support this channel. All you need to know, links are in the description of this video, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, guys. Be prepared, be safe. Bye-bye.